Hello, everyone. Welcome. I see I got a good crowd this evening. And welcome to Atlantic Trade's Business Certificate Program. My name is Paul Tilley, and I'm the instructor for this course. What I wanted to do today was to kind of orient you to what we're going to do, the big picture. So this is the 30,000-foot day, okay? Give you a little bit of background on what this is and what we're going to do with it. Several years ago, I was approached by a fellow instructor at the college, and we were talking about, he was a trades instructor, and he said to me, one of the biggest things that he found is people in the trades don't get a lot of business background. Most of the training they do tends to relate to the trades, and that there's so many tradespeople here in Clarenville particularly, but everywhere who run their own businesses or are managing their business or managing people in business and that sort of thing. And they're missing these skills. So from that, we took that to the top of the college. The college then took it to the Atlantic provinces. And between the jigs and the reels, 7 or 8 years later, here we have a program. And this is the second offering of this program. This is we piloted it last year, and now we're into the formal let's make it work sort of thing. So that's the kind of the impetus behind it. So what we did is we looked at, okay, what is it that is lacking or what is most critical that tradespeople need to know? And we broke it down into 5 basic areas: human resources, some marketing, some operations, which is related to planning as much as anything, some financial, and business planning. And we kind of said, okay, if we could think about all of those things, what are the major components that we would draw on each of them? So we've had a consultant over the last number of years, and the consultant has gone out and interviewed people in the trades, and basically their input was critical in developing what is it that we are going to talk about in this program. So that's sort of where it all came from. My background, my name is Paul Tilley, and as I say, I've been at this from the very start of it. What I've been tasked to do was, first of all, to develop it, and second of all, to deliver it. So the development and delivery is an evolving process. We're always making it. So as I say, the basic objective of the program is to advance business skills and leadership skills in terms of people who are in the trade. And this is good for you because our goal is to give you the most possible skills, best career mobility, the best ability to employ the things that we're talking about here on the job, and to make you more employable too. So what it is a certificate program from the college. And as I say, it's helpful if you want to be a business owner or if you want to manage within the business. It's not necessarily all about entrepreneurship, but it is about management. First one we're going to do is called human resource management. And within that, there's 5 components. We're going to look at human resources and how they're allocated, how we spread people out, or how we put people in positions. Placing the right people in the right job is really what we're focused on there. And we're looking at some of the theory as well as the practical applications of that. We're also looking at this wonderful issue of recruiting, hiring, and terminating. Nobody likes the terminating part. Recruiting, hiring, and terminating employees. It's a bit of a challenge to recruit people, to find the right people. And in today's environment, we've got a lot of people out there, but the ones with the right skills are always a challenge. Someone's getting ding dong. It's not me that's giving the ding dong. It sounds like a car.
No, that's me. I had to get the air conditioning on. It's too warm.
Oh, good man. Yeah, it's good in October, in the end of September, to have to worry about air conditioning in Newfoundland. So that recruiting, hiring, and terminating is a bit of a trick for a lot of people. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about personnel policies. This is something that I find most small businesses are lacking, and that is a standardized approach so that we can treat people fairly. And personnel policies is what's that about. It says, let's see if we can think of what are the common things that happen in a business. Let's create some policies around it, which is just general guidelines of how we do things. And the benefit to that for all of us is to make sure that people are treated equally, or at the very least, people feel they're treated equally. We're also looking at leading employees, which is really the focus of management. How do you point in a direction and get everyone to follow you in that direction? And looking at, finally, this idea of succession planning. This could be from your own perspective as you're about to retire out of your business, or it could be from the point of view of a business that you'd like to buy. Someone is getting ready to sell it. What kind of issues would you face there? So those are the things. And what we're going to do is, as we go through this, we're going to look at one of those components a week. The second module looks at financial management. So we're really moving into dollars and cents there. We're going to give you an overview of how financial statements are presented, because really, from a trades perspective, you give those things to the accountants do some magic with it, they throw it back in your lap, and you got to ask some questions on it, and you don't know the first thing about it, be able to ask some questions. The idea of this module is to teach you the basic components so that at least you can ask intelligent questions about what you're looking at from your accountant. It's not designed to make you an accountant, but it's designed so that you can ask better questions. So we're looking at interpreting financial statements. We're looking at the issue of where can we get credit to financing for your business, and some of the aspects that we really should focus on are get that bit credit. Government remittances, that's always a bit of a challenge for a lot of people. How do they pay the government for taxes, for EI, these sorts of things? How does that process work? We're going to look at that. And we're going to look at this concept of cash flow. And if you've ever, any of us who run a household know all about cash flow, is that the money has to come in as fast as it's going out, or you're going to have a shortage. So we're looking at cash flow. The third module that we're going to look at is marketing and sales. Now, marketing and sales is really under a big caption or a big umbrella of communications. So we're looking at how do we communicate. So the first issue of communicating is market research. How do we get information? So market research is about retrieving information, pulling information from various sources, and being able to interpret it. Establishing price policies. What kind of issues should we consider when we think about the price of a product? Developing marketing strategies. How do we communicate that we've got a product for sale and that people should be interested in buying it to meet their needs? Selling products, which is a more, I'll call it the more active part of the marketing, which is going out and communicating but selling your product and service to a potential buyer. And finally, we're looking at customer relationships and how important they are in maintaining a solid business. The fourth module looks at operations. And this is an interesting module. This is a very practical module because it looks at how should we run a business. We're thinking about things like managing inventory, scheduling production, estimating job costs, setting up and applying quality control. Any of you who are involved in the trade certainly know about the need now for quality control as expressed in the ISO ratings, right? And how the oil industry in particular are very keen on this. So we're going to look at this issue of the quality control. Occupational health and safety standards, we're going to look at that. The issue of managing meetings, a very practical, how should we run a meeting and what, in order to get the most out of a meeting in terms of the most benefit for the amount of time you get into it. And finally, organizing business information. So those are very practical components there in Module 4. The final module is what I call business planning. Now, business planning is really a capstone, what we call a capstone module in the business, because it's going to incorporate all the things we've done in the previous 4 modules, looking at marketing, looking at sales, we're looking at finances, we're looking at human resources, we're looking at all of these things in order to be able to build a plan for a small business. Now, some of you may say, well, I'm not interested in starting a business, I'm interested in running a business. But the skills that you learn in the business planning module are really focused at that as well. So it's not just for starting a business, but running a business. So overall, that's what we're going to be doing across the 5 modules as we look into the coming months. The basic schedule for a program in the 5 components runs in 6-week cycles. So from now to November, we're looking at human resource management. And November, December, we're looking at financial management. We're looking at marketing and sales immediately after Christmas, operations management during the winter, and in the spring, we'll be looking at business planning. So the idea is that each of these modules is 6 weeks. They're really 30 hours, or it's 30 hours worth of content. And the idea is that it will flow over the course of the next number of months. How are we going to do it? What's the logistics of it? And this is really the little bit of a tough part where you come in. The course is online, okay? All of the components of the course are online, and I'll be updating them as they go. So it will very, very much be a live course. And you'll have an opportunity, and some of you may have already looked at the course modules. I know, for example, the very first module, Human Resource Management, is up and available to you. What we're going to be doing is you're going to be looking at these modules, and in addition to that, one day or one evening a week, I'm going to call it an evening because I would think that most of you are working or are busy, I'll call it. You may not actually have a job right now because of the way this COVID thing is going, but most of you are busy. So what I'd like to do is to meet one night a week for an hour and a half. Let's say an hour and a half is about the time. And then at that meeting, like what we're doing now, we're going to discuss, I'm going to run through the material that we're covering that week, okay? I'm going to propose we do that on Wednesday evenings. And I don't know if that works for everyone, but I'm going to throw that out there as a start. I don't know if either of you have any particular preference for or against that.
What time would you be looking at?
7 o'clock.
Okay, because if I return to work 7, I usually get home around 7.
Okay.
Or 7:30. So.
Or 7:30, yeah. Well, here's the thing. I got to try to accommodate most people,
Absolutely.
But here's what's going to happen with these sessions. These sessions are all going to be recorded. Okay. I recognize the fact that it's almost impossible to get everyone together at one point in time. So, and 7:30 could work too, but what we need to do, and I'm not going to hard date it right now to say this is going to happen I would like it to be Wednesday because I think Wednesday is the middle of the week and it tends to be the day that is most available to people. But if the consensus was that we'd rather start at 7:30 or, the problem with 8 o'clock is that runs too late into the night then. But certainly, regardless of what we select, the meeting will run for about an hour and a half, and every single one of them will be recorded for you can view it after. Okay? I hope that works for people. So what you can do is email me in the course. Any of the times, what I'd like you to do is just email me times that are good for you. Times that are good for you. I'm just throwing out Wednesday as a kind of a starting point, or 7 o'clock as a starting point. So by this time next week, we'll have all that figured out. Okay? So that's the plan, is that we're going to go through the modules over the course of the next few months. We're going then to meet once a week for about an hour and a half, depending on the component. Some components are longer than others. And we're going to go through the content there for that week in that class. Now, the issue of assessment. How does it work with regards to this? Well, what we've done is in the 5 modules, we have little quizzes at the end of each module, okay? At the end of each, I'm going to say at the end of each component of the module. The module is the human resources, but each section has a little quiz. So you read the material in the module, And at the end of that module, at the end of that component, there is a little quiz. And it's usually 5 to 10 questions that's based on the material that you've just read. So that is an electronic quiz that you do, and that is worth 50% of the work. Okay, that's worth 50%, the electronic quizzes. At the end of each module too, there's usually, or at the end of a section, I'll call it, there's a little discussion where I want you to bring your life experience into it. So I posed a question based on the material. What would you do? How would you consider? What is your experience? And I just want you to write something up for that that's no more than a couple or 3 paragraphs long. We're not looking at a tremendous amount, but that is worth something too. I need you to participate in it. And the idea of this discussion post is as much to get you to internalize the information and say, how does this relate to me? Okay, that's what I want you to do, is ask yourself, or in the discussion, always think at it, how does it relate to you? Because every one of you have a slightly different background, and that's good because it brings many perspectives to it. So that's how the assessment goes. So each module is 50% discussion posts and 50% online quizzes. And that works out to about 1 a week. And we're not talking a tremendous amount of time to do those. But time you read the gear, you know, we're geared up for about 5 hours of work a week maximum. Okay. And as I say, the discussion posts described here what you get. You know, you post, read, and reply to messages of different topics from your classmates. So that gives you an opportunity to look at the topics and to really think about what we've talked about that week. And as I say, the quizzes, usually a 5 to 10 question online. That's based on the material that you've read. So as I say, we've got assessments there for what's going on. You can see that there is a schedule in the course, and the schedule will outline what we're going to cover and when. And it will show you where the quizzes and tests and the discussion posts are. You'll be able to track your progress because once the grading is done, and it will be done regularly, if you go into course tools, you'll be able to see your progress. So you can see what your grades are relative to where you are, relative to where you need to be, and relative to where you are, you'll be able to track your progress within the course. Sometimes you have technical issues. I know about that because I've had some today. And the folks at the Distributed Learning Services Help Desk, which is manned or womaned most of the time, if you look at that, you'll see the hours of operation. That's the help center. They're the people who worry about the technology end. So if your computer won't hook up or these sorts of things, right? I'm the person who deals with the content, though. So if you got a question, I'm on 24/7. All I got to do is leave a message. You can either phone me. You can phone me on that, or you can email me. So within the course, you can contact me there, and my phone information and everything will be right in the course. So that's how that works. And I get back to you. I will assure you that I will get back to you within the day of any postings or questions that you have. So that's what I'll be doing in that component. So that